Yo, what's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Triple B's is back again in the Haunted Basement Studio. And in this episode, we are going to talk Slasher the Ripper. As the investigation continues, more bodies are discovered. All of them are carved with similar messages. The killer is getting bolder and more brutal with each kill. The streets of 1800s London is no longer safe. And a man is walking down the streets of 1800 Londons. He's making his way down to the lower part where the people are. He is wearing a top hat and using a walking cane. As he slowly approaches three girls on the streets, the two of them look at him and smile, but he's more interested in the third one. And she reaches out her hand to him and she says, "If you come with me, we won't be bothered, and you can do anything you want." He grabs her hand, and all of a sudden, you hear, "Get your fucking hands off of her! I told you that you're not welcome here, Jack. Now fucking piss off." He pushes the man with the top hat and he says, "What is this about payment? No, this is about you carving up my boys and girls." The pimp grabs the man's walking cane and the man says, "That cane is worth more than your putrid, rat-infested, pathetic life." The man pushes two buttons on the cane and now it becomes apart and there's a dagger at the end of it. He says a man's got the right to protect himself, and he drops the cane and says, "Get the fuck out of here. If I catch you around here again, I'm gonna carve you like you carved my girls." The man walks away in the top hat and he looks down an alleyway and he sees a widow and he thinks this is the perfect opportunity. So he walks up to her and he says, "It's a nice day." And he walks over to her. She is wearing a black gown with a black veil over her face. He grabs his dagger and he says, "Let me take a little peeks at that pretty little face, but it's not going to be pretty for much longer." The widow turns and overpowers him and puts him up against the brick wall where she has two ropes down and she ties his hands up. And so he's up against the brick wall where he's tied up. She pulls down his fucking pants and she grabs a pair of shears and starts cutting off all of his clothes and then slowly walks way back in the shadows. He's like, "What the fuck's going on? What's going on?" He tries to get out, but all of a sudden she comes out of the shadows and starts fucking stabbing him with the shears and is cutting him over and over and over again. And fucking it is in a dark alleyway in the middle of London in the night. This shit is crazy. The detective shows up the next morning and he's talking to the bar owner and they're like, "Why do you call him Jack the Ripper?" "Is because he's cutting up our girls and carving his face up. If you find whoever killed him, tell him I will buy them a drink. Good riddance, that ritual bastard is dead." And so now the detective goes to the morgue so he can investigate the body. The mortician tells him that he's been sliced up and down through his back and that he most likely died from blood loss, not before he had extreme damage on his organs. This killer is strong and wants to set a message out there that this is personal and the town better be scared. Mr. Garvey, that rich son of a bitch that owns the paper, hires the lynchman to go down to Queen's Corner to knock some sense into the pimp and the bar owner. As they get there, they're outside talking in the streets, and you hear the lynchmen. They show up and they grab one of the girls and says, "Get off of my streets." And you hear the fucking pimp say, "Your streets? God damn it, get your fucking hands off of her." And what do you mean, your streets? My boss sent me down here. Well, he doesn't own the fucking pavement. Well, he owns the walls. Listen here, motherfucker. You get the fuck out of here because you don't want any of this. Really? Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Okay, we'll see about that. And the lynchman turn and walk away. And then the bar owner looks at the pimp and says, "Man, you're gonna regret that." The detective is obsessed and goes back to the coroner's office where he's examining the body and he's like, "What's this?" And he's filling it in Mr. Allison Simcoe's bicep. And he's like, "What's that?" And the coroner's like, "What, you don't fucking trust my judgment?" "No, I do, but what's this in his bicep?" And they pull out this script and it says, "Alistair was the first of many. The other gents will bleed from wounds aplenty. Friends of Margaret are my target." Later that night, the lynchmen show up on the streets of Queen's Corner, where a fight ensues between the pimp and them. The big bruiser punches the pimp and knocks out his teeth. The pimp gets up and tackles him. Two of the girls get the upper hand on one of the lynchmen and are kicking the shit out of him. The big bruiser sees that and runs over there and grabs one of the girls and throws her off, and then grabs the other one and throws her against the building. But there's a metal pipe sticking out, and her head slams against it, and all of a sudden, all this blood starts coming out, and then she's laying there lifeless with a pool of blood forming underneath her. The pimp goes and grabs her and holds her, and the lynchmen take off, and he's yelling, "You fucking murderers!" All of a sudden, the widow shows up wearing all black and a black veil. The pimp is pleading with her, saying, "Look at what they did to her. They killed her." She slowly walks behind him and pulls out a knife and grabs him and starts cutting his neck, and she decapitates him and then puts him on display for the whole town to see. And so Verdi Botticelli is here from Boston. She's here because her father, Mr. Sincone, met his end at the hands of the widow, and she's here to meet her sisters. Benette and Viviana turn out to be complete assholes because they believe that Verdi is bewitching Viviana's true love, which happens to be Basil Garvey, the owner of the paper and the dude that sent the lynchman to Queen's Corner. And so they meet up at a magic show that is being held by the musician known as Georgius Rondone. On arrival, Basil is stunned by Verdi's beauty, and Veronica fucking notices this, and they do some sick ass shit to her when they get back home. And they fucking smack her right in her face and blame her for trying to interrupt her true love. And they totally manipulate her and making her believe that she did it. Benita now takes Verdi over her lap and starts spanking her a bunch of times, and her sadistic look in her face seems like she's getting off on it. And they are totally putting Verdi in this vulnerable position where she has no way to get out of it, and it really makes you feel for the character and where are they going to head with it. Detective Kenneth now goes to Regina Simcoe's house, Alistair's wife, where he wants to investigate his belongings, where they discover a journal that has been hidden away in a secret compartment. And in this journal has pieces that links him to the Jack the Ripper case. Man, episode 1 was fucking crazy and awesome, and I love the time period piece in it. And so, fucking episode 2 is coming up right now, and we're gonna see where it goes from there because as of now, they've only dropped the 2 episodes. So, let's get into episode 2 next. All right, man, my final thoughts on Slasher the Ripper. So far, man, awesome. I give it a 9 out of 10, man. I almost fucking want to give it a 10, but I love this series so far, and I just cannot wait to see where it goes. Hi, I hope you enjoyed episode 1. Episode 2 is already in works, and it will be coming out in the next video. So if you want to check that one out, make sure you stab that sub button on the way out of here. And if you like horror movie reviews with storytelling, hit that bell also. And you motherfuckers, you keep it horror.